Hello, this is Wayne with Normal Prepping. On our community page, we added a question asking people how their prepping has changed or how they've changed their prepping after seeing the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. So what this video is going to be about is one, what we saw and how we interpreted what happened and what we should do. Two, how it affected our prepping. And three, what changes are we going to make because of this? So come inside and let's talk about it. So I imagine you guys have most likely been watching some videos on Hurricane Helene and the devastation. And we've been watching them too, and they've really made us think. I mean, we were watching just the bodies that they're finding, and people are getting washed away. It's just tragic, and then not getting the help they need, and as preppers, you really got to take that into consideration. I've also listened to on the ham radio, because I'm a ham radio operator. I've listened to people that are there and the problems they're having, and they're having a lot of problems too because of power and all that. Mm-hmm. So luckily, a lot of the ham radio operators that are still working over there, they have battery backups and they'll be able to run. And they're on there talking about how they're doing, and it's devastating. I mean, one guy mentioned that he saw bodies in the ditch, and he saw a body in the tree and animals in the trees, and and we've heard that story over and over again, and it's just devastating. What have you seen?
The same thing as you, but I mean, it just makes you look at yourself and makes you think about, hey, if we were in that situation, what would we have done? Would we have been prepared? Would we have been ready? Would we have taken off at first notice when we heard the hurricane was coming? And a lot of these people actually nobody really knew how bad it was going to be. So, I mean, it's hard to prepare for that stuff. So a lot of people just thought, hey, this is going to be a really bad storm, let's stay in our house. And it got way beyond that. So it opened our eyes as far as if that were to happen to us. If we ever got in any type of situation like that, would we be prepared?
Yes.
So,
and it did affect us, and we were in a situation. One of the reasons we started this channel in the first place is because we had to evacuate because of a wildfire. Actually, we had to evacuate twice in the same day because we have a video on that. But I felt this because of having to go through this myself, and the whole time I was evacuated, I was always worried about my house being gone. So we have that in our heads to stay. And how did this affect us? Well, it affected me in the fact that one, if you think it's gonna be bad, it's best to. I'm starting to look at it even more and more to get out. Work out on all my get out stuff. I'm prepped pretty good for bugging in, and that's one thing that happened to us the first time when we had to evacuate. Is when we evacuated, we were prepared, but not. I mean, I focused so much on bugging in, so that really affected me, and then it just affected me as a prepper, and seeing as we've seen these people, and you're thinking if they if they just had this, or if they just had water, if they just had that, the people that made it, and it's hard, and it's hard as we know being, prepping, it's something that I think about it constantly now. And I'm looking at it as how can this help me? That's what I'm focused on. These people's loss may be able to help a lot of people, including you guys. Anything?
I think that, a lot of them did lose their but the ones that lost their homes were by the river. It flooded to historic heights. But other people are stranded in their homes. And if you are going to be stranded in your home, for God's sake, please be prepared. In any way, shape, or form that you can. Be prepared, especially if you have children in the home. If their homes got flooded, move everything up to the top as far as you could go to save all those items. Bug out in one room to stay warm with blankets and warm clothing. I mean, pack all your food up there. Whatever you have to do to survive, you get in that survival mode and you do it.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to go into here. We're going to go through this, and we're going to tell you exactly what we're going to do now, and in our mindset.
Yeah.
We got this new mindset. It might even be a new slogan for us. And our new slogan or mindset is: if you are prepared for a Cat 5 hurricane, you are ready for anything.
Yeah.
You prepare at that level. Anything that happens below that, you're good. So that's the way I'm looking at this. And then we go into what we need. Okay, let's start going into that. Someone in the poll that I took made this comment, and it's a simple comment, but it just stuck in my head. A lot of this stuff is really a lot of things stick in my head, but this did. And what they said was, more solar everything.
Yeah.
More solar everything. I mean, that is
Yeah.
for that nailed it. If you're, and then I'm not talking. I'm a fan of the solars mounted to the roof of your house, because one, they'll get blown off. Two, everybody and their grandma can see that you got solar and you may have power and you may be able to plug their stuff in, so it could attract people you don't want to attract. But there's portable ones that they could use, and these people, I watching these videos and they don't have power.
Yeah.
Well, even if you have a small battery bank, we did a video on one of our battery banks that we have, just a basic battery bank, and that's power and that's solar. And I think, as you saw in our intro, you saw in the background there was some solar panels outlaid there, and that's something I'm gonna work on even more now. I'm starting to get more into solar. For if I have to stay, then
We can recharge items.
Yeah, we can recharge that. We have a generator. We did a video on that too, and it's a gas generator, but gas only lasts so long. So and ours, so the solar idea is really hitting on. I got into solar because I'm a ham radio operator, so I have everything all on batteries. Then we have that, so that worked really, really good. And then going into another thing that you hardly ever mention. Nobody talks about it. And one thing that you really have to think about when you're staying, it doesn't matter if you're staying in your house or if you're leaving, and that is medication. I've been hearing it over and over and over again. These people with diabetes and different things, they can't get their medication. So if you have any kind of problem, diabetes or whatever, find out with your doctor what you can save, how much you can get, and how to store it. Because I know some things have to be refrigerated.
Yeah.
So if it has to be refrigerated, then make sure that you have maybe a solar backup power that will run your refrigerator, and have some means of keeping that at that point.
Medication.
Your medication is more important than your food. So you need to keep that cool or whatever. Just make sure you have the medication that you'll need and have a good supply. Because you have some medication you take, and you have a lot of extra.
I always pick it up every month, even though I sometimes don't use it. But what I've done is I leave it in the bottle and I vacuum seal it, because if the bottle gets wet, you don't want the label to come off, and you don't want to not be able to read what your medication is. So I'll put a bottle of my medication in a food saver bag, 1 or 2, maybe 3, maybe some Tylenol, which is very important to have, Tylenol, Advil. Put it in a Ziploc bag, not a Ziploc bag, a freezer bag, use the food saver machine, vacuum pack it, and that way, in case if you are in a flood, as long as you have it with you, even if you're in a backpack and it gets wet, you know what your medications are, because you can still read the little bottle. And also, if it gets in the bottle, you don't have a big old glob of goop, Yeah,
so
exactly.
You don't want to contaminate it. You don't want anything contaminated.
Yeah, because that's all you're going to have for weeks and weeks. Because if you look at the people in the town where the hurricane hit, they have no power. Who knows when they're going to get it back? The waters are receding a little, but everything's a mess. Nobody is helping. Nobody can help you. You're on your own. So if you're going to be on your own, you want to make sure you have the things you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And another thing with the medication too, you don't just need it in case you stay, in your house.
Yeah.
Even if you leave,
yeah,
you still want to have that extra medication, because it may not be easy to get to.
Yeah.
During the fire here, you couldn't buy anything because
Yeah, and-
everything was down. I mean, you couldn't buy anything. So
Yeah.
everybody's going to be running, and they're going to be doing the, trying to get it to help themselves. So you make sure you have medicine. I mean, that should be a priority. If you need that, make sure you have it. And then along the lines of things, another thing that people don't mention, and it also goes with another thing. While you have your vacuum sealer out, you know how we love our vacuum sealer. But is documents.
Yeah.
And actually a while back somebody asked me if we do a video on, how we do our documents. And I'll give you a quick idea without doing the full video right now, a sneak preview, is you put like a piece of cardboard in the bag, and then to keep them from turning into a little ball. And that way, when you vacuum seal them, they'll stay together a little better. But, all your important documents, if you have them, you should put them. You can also put them in a tube and then put them inside. Depends on the size of the document. But just do whatever you can to keep them so they don't get destroyed in the vacuum sealing process. But make sure you have them. And the insurance is important. You always have to have your insurance, and there's a whole list.
Important phone numbers, because if you lose your phone during all this, if you have a list of important phone numbers, your top 5 or 10 in your food saver seal bag with all your documents, that's good to have too.
Yeah, it is. Everything you can. If something's going to get wet, vacuum seal it. And that's why we love ours. We as you've seen in our other videos, we have a whole section of just vacuum sealing of all the strange things we vacuum seal. So
including socks.
Including socks, yeah. But definitely watch that if you haven't seen those.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah, it's very important. Okay, the next thing is getting out. Okay, and I've always thought of this with fires, because that's my thought is fires. But now that I'm preparing for Cat 5 hurricane, even though I don't live near there, one thing, trees, okay? As you saw in the intro, I put a gas-powered chainsaw in. That now is one thing I'm going to always bug out with, is a gas-powered chainsaw. I've always had an axe in the back and a shovel in the back. However, I don't carry, a chainsaw. A lot of times I think, well, somebody will steal it, but it's easy to throw in the front if you go in somewhere, so it's no big deal. I'd sooner have somebody steal my chainsaw later on and get down a road than be stuck. Because if you're in a place and there's wind coming up or fire and there's a tree down the road, there's a lot of chopping to be done, and a good chainsaw. And I have a gas powered, but I would recommend. I was thinking about it, and I think those electric ones. Just a couple weeks ago, our neighbor cut down quite a few trees with these really nice DeWalt chainsaws, and they're electric. And I'm like, I'm old school, and it was mind blowing how and it's so quiet, and it just cut them right down. But if you have a gas, or you want a gas up, like I do, one thing you got to remember is you got to have backup gas. And one thing that I use is I always put this in it, this enzyme. There's all kinds of these. And for my research, this is the best gas extender, because it breaks down enzymes. So if you're storing gas for this, your generator or anything, make sure you use this stuff. This kind is a little harder to find than what comes in the red bottle, but from my research, this is the stuff I use. I've been using it for years. It's treated me well. So if you have have that, make sure you bring your gas when you bring your chainsaw. Also, if you get the electric chainsaw, it's a really good idea to have a battery, backup, because it may not be going through 1 or 2 trees. You may have 3 or 4. Yeah. And you also want to have something that you also want to practice your skills before you do this. Don't just think, I'm going to go out there with a chainsaw and magically be Paul Bunyan. It doesn't work that way. Trust me, I've been there. Yeah. It takes a lot of practice. So if you can go out, practice it and, learn some skills. And even if you live in the cities, there could be something that fall on your way. You may need a chainsaw.
Yeah. Gas or electric.
Yeah, gas or electric.
Yeah.
But I'm really starting to kind of lean towards those. I'm not sure if I'll get electric yet, but I'm so used to gas. I've been using for years. So another
thing is you may be using your saw and run out of gas.
Yeah, exactly.
And you may not be able to go and get gas for weeks.
Yeah, for weeks. Yeah, because that's one thing that people forget. If you watch some of those zombie shows, you kind of figure it out. It's kind of funny because their cars seem to run on gas for years, even though that's not how it works in real life. But they one thing that happens is that those tanks are on power. So as soon as the power's out, boop, there's no gas.
Yeah, you can't get your gas out.
There's no gas. There's gas stations everywhere, but you can't get it out. You know, it's like being on a boat and, no water. You can't get to
Yeah.
it. So, yeah, if you have things that are gas, always make sure you have, you're stocked up.
Yeah.
And then also make sure that you have, that extender in it. And I always rotate all my cans. So the extender goes and goes, goes. Okay. So the next thing with that, also make sure, because you don't know what you're in, I always use one of these. Even when, and this has the headset and everything all built on.
Yeah.
And I love this thing. I use it for grass, everything. But you want to bring one of these because you think about it. If you're out there and if one tree's down, you never know. There could be a branch or something that could come down. And, it may not be the best, but at least you got a little protection. And, I like it. They're actually kind of comfortable. And this Oregon brand is the one I kind of like this. And then also remember, you should have this in your kit. And this video is not going over what you should already have. And we have videos on that too. This is above and beyond, something that is going to get us a little bit higher up, a little more prepared. But these you should have in your kit, but just a reminder, are some good gloves. I have some in my bug out kit. Plus I have a couple of these I just keep in the side in my truck, in my car, so that way you always have gloves. So that works. You got to have the protection. You want to have eye protection because the last thing you want is get something in your eye and on your head. So now when you're bugging out, okay, you may be diverted. And there's two things that you'll need here. One, if you're taking separate cars, and if you aren't, you should have radios.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into a more advanced because I'm a ham radio operator. In the future, I've already written it up. I was going to do this a long time ago, but more things, come up. But I'm going to do a video on the radios. However, for now, I'll just tell you this. Don't get the Baofeng right off the bat. Just go down, get yourself the family, just those little walkie-talkies, that little, the kitty walkie-talkies. For now, that'll get you through. Later on, I'll do a video and I'll help you make a better decision. But just keep it simple. Just that'll get you where you need to be now without any time. So, go to Walmart or whatever and get those. That's all you need. Because we use those,
Yeah.
We also
when he goes outside, when he's wandering around, he takes his radio and says, "Here, if you need me, call me."
That's it. Yeah, so that's another one. And then the other one is you may not know where you are even after you get something happens. If you don't make it out, things might change. We watched this video and the woman, she was a search and rescue lady and she didn't even recognize anything.
Yeah.
She said she couldn't tell. She goes, there used to be trees in this area, they're gone. There's rocks here, they're gone. And she said that, help came in, they're asking her over the depths of the water. She goes, I can't tell because I don't know where the river used to be. The river actually moved over. So one thing, and we use this, I use this backpacking. As you well know, if you've watched any of our videos, I talk about it a lot because I'm hardcore into backpacking, is a reach. The newer ones are a little smaller than this. I have links to almost all this in our description too, by the way. So, and this one, I've used this for quite a few years and it works great because I can, even unless we have an EMP, pretty much anything that happens, we're going off a satellite. So it's not going to be like those folks that, can't get out. I can still text my wife when we're out.
When he's hiking.
Like I text you. I tell you I made it. I tell you I'm leaving. It also gives her, whoever you put on your list, it gives them the coordinates.
Yeah.
So say if you're in some area and you're lost and you have on your list some other friends or family, and you put it to send your location, it gives the coordinates. So and even shows on their computer, it'll show a map and it'll show them exactly where you're at. Even you may not know where you're at. One time I was hiking and it was like a burnt out area. The trail was the first year after a huge forest fire, and I was hiking this trail. And it was about 20 miles I had to go of just burnt out. And I couldn't tell where the trail was. I'd always say, if I was a trail, where would I be? She would, every once in a while, she'd text me and say, Wayne, I think you're lost. You're like about 500 yards from the trail. Oh, so then I'd go back up. So that's really helpful. And it also has an emergency button, which, you can push. Yeah. And that gets it's an emergency service. So I highly recommend the InReach. And then, like I say, the newer ones are smaller. There's a link in the description. Highly recommend it. Along with that Garmin, I have this Garmin watch. And if you really want to always be prepared, this thing is amazing. And it also has maps.
I don't have a Garmin.
She doesn't have a Garmin.
Mine's just a normal, you know.
It makes sure she doesn't run away from me.
Yeah.
She knows she has to stay by me.
Mine's just an exercise one.
Yeah, she just has exercise. I got the Garmin, and it's basically for backpacking.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I go out, I don't take this with me. I take it with me when I'm hiking, but when I'm at camp, I'll leave that, and I'll just go. But it's cool because like I can put in all these. There's tons of YouTube videos. I'm never probably gonna do a YouTube video on it, but you put maps in. So it's like, say if you're at your house and you have the different destinations you want to go to, you can preload all these different maps, and it tells you where to turn and all this stuff. It's really kind of cool, And I have trails that I have pre in here. I can look. So that's very, very handy.
Yeah, so I can find him when he's not here.
Yeah.
Just by tracking him.
Yep, she can always.
I can track him. In case, just, because sometimes, like last time we went hiking, he took us a couple extra hours before he contacted me, and I was like kind of trying to wonder, like,
Yeah.
He's taking longer than normal, but eventually he did text me. He was just having a good time.
Yeah, it was.
Because he always lets me know, okay, I'm in my tent, I'm safe, I'm going to bed now. And I said, okay, cool.
Yeah.
At least I know.
Yeah. And I rarely ever hike with anybody else. It's been been about 4 years since I've gone with somebody else. I scare them away, I guess. But, it's, so I love it. And it gives me security too. So in a bug out situation, man, it's good. And even if you're at your house, these people can't contact their family.
Yeah.
You could contact your family.
That's why I'm saying phone numbers with your documents is very important. Because I don't remember my phone numbers on my phone.
But this also, you can have them pre-programmed in here too. This will pretty much your entire list could be in here, and you could just go and send it to whoever you need.
Or send a message if you can't get out.
Send a message.
Yeah.
So your friends and family, and this goes worldwide. This is incredible. Yeah. So highly recommend one of these. And then also, if you can't, and they're getting hard to find, but just paper maps. Have paper maps of your area, because we were watching a video where they had to go over these mountains, and then they didn't really know where they were going, and so if you live out there or even in a city, you want to have a map, because you got to go quick and you want to get yourself around and see,
because the cell towers are down. You're not going to be able to look up your directions on a phone. So you might as well, you need a map or some device like the Garmin.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Satellite, yeah.
And then that's kind of what we're looking at is what.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but another thing is that he hasn't touched on yet is water.
Oh yes.
Have an abundance of water, because your body will survive without food, 3, 4, 5 days, but your body will not survive without water. So like we say, watch our videos, stash that water so you always have it, because right now over there where the hurricane hit, the water's dirty.
Yeah.
There is no water unless it's brought in. Yeah. So have your water.
Yeah, have lots of water in your house.
Lots of water.
And that's one thing too. Another thing that came in my mind, things I'm going to change. Because before, I have water everywhere here. And I have filtration, for when I bug out. However, I always thought, I could get it somewhere else. Well, now after seeing this, in my mind now, I'm going to bring a whole lot of water with me when I bug out.
Yeah.
And I don't care if I'm going to a relative's house or anything, because they may not have water. So I want to bring my water. I want to carry everything I need. When I leave, I'm going to carry everything with me. And
because like in our instance, in a fire, we did bug out to another house, and then we had to bug out from that house.
Yeah.
But the city, they turn everything off.
Yeah.
For because it's a danger.
Yeah.
So they might turn off your water, even though if you're not in the exact fire zone, you can still not have water or power.
Yeah. So, and you got to be prepared when you're going to leave too. Once again, I can't stop pushing the fact that you need a get out plan, an evacuation plan. Watch our video. I give it step to step. And I even have on our website, you can go to our website and I have a template. I'm charging a minimal amount of money. You can watch the video, you can download the template, fill out all the information, and it's a life changer. It also takes the stress off, because you go down the list, bam, 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 and there you go. You got everything you need.
And make sure if you're separated at the time an incident happens, make sure your children are aware, hey, if anything happens, we meet here. You get to this point, we will wait for you. This is where we meet as a family.
Yes, and that's part of the evacuation
that
plan.
is extremely important because kids are in school, you're at work, your spouse is at work, and they need to know, okay, mom and dad said, we need to go here.
Yeah.
And they go.
Yep. Or if you ever get split up, you have to have spots.
Yeah, you have a spot that you're all going to meet.
Yeah.
Because it just might happen.
And talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Don't be scared to talk about it. And right now is a good time to talk about it. That's what we're doing here. I mean, this is just kind of, us talking kind of video.
Yeah.
We got to sit down with our families. We got to talk about this. I know even smaller kids are hearing about this. So it's a good time to talk about it. Good time to come up with a plan.
Yeah, to be safe.
Yeah, and like I say, evacuation plan. When we had to evacuate, it was just so nice having that. So I recommend doing that. I don't know if is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think we've pretty much covered a broad aspect of what we were thinking about. So if you think of anything else we could have covered, let us know.
Yeah, always comment. Comments, we love those. And
and we do read them.
Yeah, we read it. Yeah, I try to read every one. I'm starting to get a little they're getting, there's a lot of them. So I get up early.
Yeah,
we like it, But, and also, like I say, watch that video. I'll put it on the end of this. Watch that video on how to do an evacuation plan. It's one of the first videos we ever did, so it's not the best in the world, but it gets you the idea.
Yeah. And, I hope you really never have to use an evacuation plan, but always have it in the back of your head. Just rehearse it once or twice with your kids, and they might say, yeah, sure, but you know what? Do it. Make sure they understand, hey, it may never ever happen, but if it does, this is what you do. So we hope this helped you a lot. We were just thinking about throwing this video together because of everything going on.
Yep. And now that's all I can say is just be prepared.
Be prepared.
And remember our new motto. If you prepare for a Cat 5 hurricane, you're ready for everything.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.